What are you going to do with that big fat bun? Hi everyone, it's Tash and welcome to another recipe video. And today we are continuing our short 2-week White Rabbit Candy series with White Rabbit Candy Milk Pudding. The Chinese New Year celebrations continue, so our feasting will continue. But to be honest, I'll take any excuse to eat these. If you weren't with us for last week's recipe video, which was White Rabbit Candy Cheesecake, and you didn't grow up with these little bad boys, White Rabbit Candy is a chewy, milky sweet that has a layer of rice paper around it. So when you unwrap it, you'll see this paper here. You see? But don't worry because that will melt in the mouth because it's just made out of rice. I should have thought that through. It takes a while to chew. Chances are if you grew up East or Southeast Asian, those candies were your childhood. As they were mine, I always used to beg Mum to buy them from the Chinese supermarkets. But today, to continue to celebrate the year of the rabbit, we are going to be cooking them. And what better way to use milk candy than in milk pudding? Last week's White Rabbit Cheesecake recipe was super easy. This one is even easier. Basically, you just put everything in a pot, melt it together and add some gelatin to set it. Done! But I will help you walk through the individual steps and quantities, of course, and give a little extra trick for this one. Because we're adding candy, which is sticky, it makes this milk pudding a little bit stickier in texture than regular milk puddings, which makes it a teeny tiny bit more difficult to get out of the molds, but I have a solution for you. So let's go to the kitchen and see how it's done. Let's start by soaking some gelatin. I've got 4 grams of gelatin here, which is about 1 teaspoonful, just level, just a little tiny bit less than 1 teaspoonful. And I've got 2 tablespoonfuls of cold water here. And I'm going to sprinkle this gelatin over and let it bloom, aka soak. And now I'm going to set this aside just for a couple of minutes. Now we're going to melt down 100 grams of White Rabbit candy, and that's measured after it's been unwrapped. And yes, this is starting off very similarly to last week's White Rabbit Cheesecake recipe, which I'll pop up now so you can watch that a bit later. Also a very delicious recipe. And like I said last week, if you're not familiar with White Rabbit candy, when you unwrap it, it's also wrapped in a layer of rice paper, and this is edible and it dissolves, so you don't need to peel it off. And anyway, you can't really peel it off because it's quite stuck firm on the candy, so just leave it on there, it will all dissolve, don't worry. Now I'm going to add 150 millilitres of double cream, and 150 millilitres of milk. And now we're going to switch the heat onto medium, and we're going to keep stirring this until it is completely dissolved and well combined. Oh, before I forget, I'm also going to add 10 grams of caster sugar just to add a little bit more sweetness into that, because the candies aren't actually overly sweet. That's one of the things I like about Asian food and Asian desserts. They're not cloyingly sweet. So because we're adding more milk and more cream into this, we're going to need to up the sugar levels a little bit. Once you're sure all of the candies have been completely dissolved, we're going to take this off the heat, and we're going to dissolve in our soaked gelatin while it's still hot. Once our gelatin is completely dissolved, we are ready to fill our moulds. I've got 2 different types of moulds here. I've got my little bunny moulds, which I used for my little cheesecakes last week, and also some standard pudding moulds. These I quite like because the tops come off, breaking the seal and making the puddings really easy to release. These bunny moulds are quite small, so I don't think that all of this will completely go in there and then it will be finished, so that's why I've got these backup moulds here. So let's carefully pour our mixture into our moulds. I don't know, it might actually finish it. Well, I can take this one away because that was actually enough for 6 bunnies and 1 big pudding, so good to know. Now you need to let them cool completely before freezing them overnight, or at least for 4 hours. As you can see, I actually tried to just set them in the fridge and chill them, which is what I normally do with panna cottas, but as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, because we added sticky candy to it, it was very sticky and difficult to get out of the mould. Particularly the silicone one, which is a soft mould, it was a bit easier with the hard mould, so definitely freeze at least the silicone moulds for this particular recipe. Now that our puddings are frozen, let's unmould them, and as you can see, this is the one that took some collateral damage. I'm going to take a board, and even though they are frozen, we're still going to be careful when we pop them out because the ears are a bit delicate, as are the tails. So let's start from the front and the sides. Gently push them out, peeling away. Press on the ears. And that is much better. We're going to pop one on its platform, just like this. And now that we've released our rabbits, we're going to pop them in the fridge for an hour or two just to defrost. Well, aren't these just ridiculously cute? And they're insanely jiggly too. I'm literally just moving the table a little bit. Look at them go! Now sit back, relax and enjoy some gratuitous slow-mos. This is the most fun I've had with a dessert ever. Oh my gosh, it's so wobbly, I can't stop playing with it. Oh, I better be careful. I need to stop in case it slides right off that cake board. Now, like last week, I can't bear to dig into another fresh one after doing the slow-mo, so here's one I've destroyed earlier. Let me just turn her to face the other way. It smells heavenly, exactly like White Rabbit candies. So I'm just going to dig right in. Ooh, she is soft. Cheers! Super good. It's light, it's creamy, and it's not too sweet either. We've added just enough gelatin in there for it to set, but it's a very soft set, so we're just about getting away with it, holding its shape while making it very jiggly. You get the general idea. So there you go, White Rabbit candy milk pudding. Don't forget to stick this one in the freezer for at least 4 hours before you unmould it and then let it defrost in the fridge. And that will make sure you get all those perfect little details. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed today's video and I hope you'll join me next Wednesday for my next one. Get the full written recipe on my blog tashcakes.com, follow me on Instagram, I am tashcakes.tastes, and find me on TikTok, I'm tashcakes there too, but I'm also called Food in Slow Motion. Subscribe and hit that notification bell if you'd like to see more. Give this video a like if you'd like to help other people find it. Comment down below if you'd like me to make anything in particular, and I will see you guys next time. Be good, be nice, and have a good week. Excuse me.